It hurts when you lose the coach after you've made the conference championship game, especially because that is another week in which he stuck around to obviously finish out the season, and gives you a week less to go out there and get somebody and prepare for National Signing Day, which is only 1 week away. So that's another. There's damage control there, and just trying to keep that recruiting class together with those student athletes not knowing who their next head coach is going to be.
Yeah, the recruiting class, I think, is a real panic mode. These kids are, no offense, they're trying to make the best decision possible for them in their future. But these are kids that, a lot of them, they're literally getting conversations 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day from coaches. Like, the amount of energy spent on an 18-year-old to go play football for your team seems a little out of whack. It seems like, here's the information, let me know if you're interested. Instead, it's all the time, constantly hounding these kids, and at any moment they can flip, and it just scares the heck out of these coaches. I don't know if that's all right with the system. I think realistically, this is going to hurt. This year, it's going to hurt. You were on path to have a great recruiting class because you'd stacked up these recruiting classes during Mario's time. That's the thing that Oregon has never been able to do, Mark, is stack up 3, 4 of them in a row. So here he had this opportunity. You thought you were going to get another class. As soon as that coaching staff bounces, you knew you're going to have guys evacuate from the class, and that's what has happened. But now you're also seeing guys on the team leaving too, right? So it's a double whammy. And like I said, I think the transfer portal is going to work both ways. I know there's a lot of guys in the transfer portal right now. And I think Oregon will still be fine. It's still, I feel like, one of the better jobs in the West. And I think it has a lot going on for it. I think there's obviously deep pockets with the boosters. There's great facilities. There's good buzz. You've got a good stadium. It's not like you're trying to recruit kids to go to a half-empty stadium. You've got a fan base that's excited. It's pumped up. So I still think there's a lot of really positive things going on out here.
And the fervency of the fan base, as evidenced by the full stadium, is even more of a contrast to what's going on in that conference than it would be in other Power 5 conferences. So it's a hotbed for college football, and there still is a lot going for it. It's a recognizable brand name, and with the uniforms and the logo and the Phil Knight connection, and again, the rabid fan base and the resources. Obviously, Mario Cristobal knew what he was doing in the recruiting trail and was a master recruiter, but he couldn't have done that without the facilities and the resources to be able to go out there and do that. So the next coach will have that same infrastructure to his benefit.
Yeah, I mean, that was my point when I was talking about Justin Wilcox, a guy who's just a couple years older than me, grew up in Oregon, a guy who you would think, if he got the opportunity to take this job, that he would do a great job with it and run with it. Of course, we thought the same thing with Mark Helfrich, right? That didn't work out. But, the theory on that is that, compare Cal to Oregon, right? If you took the same coach at Cal, who's had some pretty good success or marginal success, whatever you want to call it, what could he do with Oregon's resources? What could he do with Oregon's, dime? And, maybe it's the same thing. I don't really know because, again, you don't know it until you see it. But you would think that he'd have a better chance to be successful here than he would be at Cal. And I think that could be also something that you look forward to in the future and say, okay, you don't need to necessarily get a coach that's 10-2 right now. Every coach you've ever hired, for the most part, except for 2 coaches in the past, were, had a losing record or had no experience at all. I mean, look at Chip Kelly, for example. Chip Kelly obviously made his bones at Oregon with his success as an offensive coordinator and as a head coach. It took him to the NFL and everything. And if he comes back, whatever, I guess that's the case. But I don't think many Oregon fans would have been that excited if you were to ask them a month ago, when they're number 3 in the country, looking at the National College Football Playoff, and say, hey, how about next year we switch the coach out with UCLA? How about, you like that? I don't know if many Oregon fans would sign up for that.